Hey guys, RK Castillo here with DefineMyPurpose.com, and I am answering a question that gets asked quite a bit on our site, and that question is, what does God want me to do, or what does God want me to do with my life? Now again, everything in life and understanding what God wants you to do, it flows from two things. There's two parts of purpose. There's being, that's your identity, and then there's doing. It's what God's called you to do. So when you're answering the question, what does God want me to do? Again, at the very foundation of what God wants you to do is He wants you to love Him, love God, and love people. Everything in your life should flow out of those two things, your love for God and your love for people. Jesus would say it this way. Someone came up to Him and asked Jesus, well, what's the most important thing in life? And He would say, love God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And they say, okay, now what else? And He says, the second commandment, or second greatest thing you need to be about is love your neighbor as yourself. So everything, all of the commandments, everything about God comes out or flows out of these two things. Love God and love people. So, but I want to help you get a little bit more specific in what God wants you to do. So, again, I did tons of research, I spent thousands of dollars, and I've been thinking about this thing for years, and I realized that finding your purpose really comes down to just four things. So here's my definition of how to understand what God wants you to do with your life. It's when you find what you love to do, and use what you're great at doing to become a solution to problems that God's calling you to fix. So again, let me draw you my, my purpose discovery process diagram. So there's four parts to understanding what God wants you to do. And I've explained these four things in other videos, but let me just summarize it for you again. So when you find what you love to do, those are your passions. God has specifically put things that are important to you inside of you. He's put dreams inside of you. He's given you things that excite you. You know, when you're involved in something that you're passionate about, it wakes you up in the morning quicker than a Starbucks cup of coffee. So the first thing in understanding what God wants you to do is understanding your passions. The second part is using what you're great at doing. I call these strengths. Strengths are just talents that have been developed. A talent is an inborn gifting that God has put inside of you, and He wants you to use what you are great at doing to become a solution to problems, which is the third part. Now, when you're involved in something that is a talent in your life and you begin to develop the skills and the experience necessary to develop that talent into a strength, it actually comes so easy to you that you think it's crazy when people say they wish they could do it like you. I mean, when you're involved in a strength, you can produce near perfect results every single time without really even trying, because you've just been created to be great at that. So the key comes in using what you've been great at to become a solution to problems. You want to solve problems that matter to you, that you're passionate about. And finally, that God is calling you to fix. Now, if all of these aren't equal, understanding what God wants you to do with your life really boils down to you asking God. Believe it or not, God isn't just way out there in the clouds, so far away. He's here with you, and He longs and He desires to communicate with you. Over and over again, if you read the Bible, you'll see that God is constantly speaking. And it isn't just for some special someone that God speaks to. God wants to speak to everyone. In fact, Jesus says that my sheep hear my voice, which means if you're a follower of God, you hear His voice. So it's just learning to communicate with Him and asking Him, God, what do you want me to do? And then I say, look, listen, or look for the next place to serve someone. Love the person that's right in front of you. And as you begin to do that, you'll begin to see where these other three things, what you love to do, what you're great at doing, and the problems that God's calling you to fix, you'll see how those things line up in a role that is specific to you and what you're passionate about, what you're great at. And then when you can devote your life to that role, then you'll find that at the end of your life, you'll have created a life that really mattered. When you're living this thing, where this sweet spot is right here, when you're living that thing, you're going to find that you're going to love life. You're going to get excited about life when you wake up in the morning. So find where these 4 things line up in your life. And if you're watching this on my site, you know, there's a box just right over there. You can add your information in and get a free video course that will walk you step by step through this process to figure out where these 4 things line up in your life. So if you want to get that free video course, just add your information to the box over there. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and visit my site, www.definemypurpose.com, and we'll see you over there.